Good afternoon. I call the third session of the Montana Knights of Columbus Convention to order. Thank you for returning. I hope you all had a good lunch. And now we've got the nitty-gritty of the business to attend to. We'll start out with the final credentials report from State Secretary Marty Beatty. Yes.
We're the state deputy. We have 39 registered ballots for elections from credentials. And we have 9 state officers.
Okay. So at this point, the credentials report has been submitted, and all election opportunities are closed for anyone else, except for those 39 and the state officers. Next item of business is state officers elections. At this point, I will turn the gavel and podium over to our worthy immediate past state deputy and also designee as parliamentarian.
We're the state deputy. Brothers, as the state deputy mentioned, we're at that part of the convention where we elect our state officers. So I ask for the slate of officers for the vote. Do we?
All officers current are the only nominations.
Okay. So what we have now for the office of state deputy is Dan Hallstein. For state secretary, Marty Beatty. For state treasurer, we have Howard Cavan. State advocate would be Jim Taflin. I'm missing someone. State warden. And there's no opening, or there's no nomination for state warden. Can I open the floor for that? Excuse me? I didn't hear him.
Do the slate first and then do the warden.
Okay. For the offices that I mentioned, other than the state warden, is there any other nominations? Is there any other nominations? Third time, are there any other nominations? Seeing none, that there's no other nominations, that we accept the ballot unanimously.
I so move that we accept it.
Is there a second? Okay. Please help me congratulate our state officers for 21-22. So then we've opened the floor for state warden. Is there any nominations for state warden? Any nominations for state warden? Any nominations for state warden, especially from Anaconda? If there are any of you on the virtual, please raise your hand so our technicians can follow. Seeing, okay.
Delegate Joel Liberty, did you raise your hand for comment? If so, please raise your hand again, and we will acknowledge you. There are no hands raised at this time, sir.
JP, nothing? Okay. Guess what, Josh? All right.
Any objections to retaining
Yes. Does any of the delegation have any anything against having Josh Twitchell be nominated again for state warden?
For the state deputy, I appreciate the consideration, but I'll have to decline at this time.
All right, thank you. Phew, pressure was on at that end of the table. Huh?
We'll have to address that later.
Yes, state deputy said we will address that later on that. Okay. Move on. All right. We'll now move on to the report of the Resolutions Committee. I asked State Advocate Jim Taflin to give that report.
Mr. Taflin, you should be able to speak now.
Oh, I did. I jumped ahead. Sorry. I had it right here.
I'm showing Jim's mic as open and recognized as a panelist, but I'm not hearing any sound. I'm not seeing, I'm unable to determine if Jim is able to speak.
Should we move along then to delegates?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a little technical difficulty there, so we'll move on to the next agenda item here is the election of delegates to the Supreme Convention. We all know about the pandemic and everything, and but the site for this year's Supreme Convention is in Denver, Colorado, if it does go live there. So whether you get to go to Denver or to a site here in Montana and watch it as a delegates that way, like last year, we still need 2 delegates for the state of Montana to be attend the convention. So, and we'll also accept alternates too. So first off, we do have a 2 people that are interested already in being delegates. Correct? State Secretary? So one of them is Jim Powell and the other is Marty Beatty. So I open the floor now to all the delegates. Is there any other nominations for delegates for the convention, for the Supreme Convention? Are there any other nominations to be a delegate to the convention, Supreme Convention? Third time, is there any other nominations for delegates to the Supreme Convention? Seeing none, then I see no other nominations. I pass that we accept the ballot unanimously. Is there? Okay. We need an alternate.
There was no other nominations, so.
Okay. Pat has been nominated to be an alternate to the Supreme Convention. Are there any other nominations for that position? Any other nominations for that position? Third time, any other nominations? Okay, JP, there is no one. So I move then that we accept the ballot of Pat as our alternate delegate, that we accept that ballot unanimously. All in favor? JP, did you get Jim Taflin back?
Jim is here and he says he's speaking, but I'm not getting any audio off of him. Everything is green on my end. Check your microphone input, Jim. For whatever reason, I am not getting any indication of sound coming out of Jim's computer. It would give me an indication that we were getting some sort of audio, and I'm not getting anything as of right now.
We ask him to log out and log back in.
Jim, if you would try turning it off and turning it back on again. You can log out and jump back in, and we will give this another shot.
Your turn.
No, stay here. Oh, while we're waiting, we have a little story to tell
Oh, yes.
about
We have a lot of
something
stories.
you don't know about us. We
Whoa,
our agents
we're busted, guys.
on our way up to film many of the check distributions to our various charities. We stopped at a Denny's restaurant in our nice suits, ties. This family came by to be seated at the next table, and the father stopped kind of quickly, looked a little horrified, wouldn't you say?
A little worried.
Yeah. And he said, "Are you federal marshals?" So
We
there
are now.
We are. The immediate past deputy took care of our insignias here. So thank you very much for that.
You
Yeah.
bet.
How's that for stalling?
That's going to be a story I'll always remember.
We
Can't tell you.
sweet and low. Yeah. I thought you said packet.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just want to know what bullet I used up.
Right. Yeah, we should add a drug sniffing dog.
Yeah.
That would have been so. But we'll give this a few more minutes. I think I pretty much know what the report is and could offer it myself. If we can't get connection, we can move on to the budget committee report. Should we do that while trying to connect?
It's still not back on.
Okay. Let's move on to the budget report.
Okay. Okay.
Howard Kavan.
Thank you, Worthy State Deputy. Yes, we ask of our State Treasurer, Howard Kavan, to please come up and give the audit committee report. I don't think I get to do that.
You don't need to. Worthy State Deputy, worthy State Chaplain, worthy past State Deputies, worthy officers, and brother knights. The audit committee was provided the balance sheet and income and expenditures and the detailed ledgers for Montana State Council. And they reviewed this information and determined, after looking at all the documents, they unanimously approved it without exception. And so the records will look good, I guess. So I don't know what else to say. And then moving on to the budget, there was we had the proposed budget and for 2021, and then the actual numbers we have up to date, April 1st we put in there, and then the proposed budget of what it would look like just going off of those numbers. And then the fourth column out there is the proposed budget kind of recommended by the state deputy. And in that budget, the items that changed or would change is there would be a one-time offering of a 10% discount on per capita next year. And this would be, well, I guess that would be the reduction on the revenue side. On the expenditure side, there was 3 items that were added to or increased, and one was state membership expenses. There was $2,400 added for additional incentives there on the membership. And state program directors, there was some incentives added there to kind of get things back going of 2,000. And form compliance, there was an additional 1,000 added. And after the audit committee reviewed it, they unanimously approved the state deputy's request for the proposed budget for 21-22. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, State Treasurer. Vote on all that?
Any exceptions to the report?
Yes. Is there any exceptions to the report? Any objections to the report? JP, seeing none? Seeing none, then we accept the committee's report unanimously. All right, thank you. JP, we'll go back to Jim Taflin. Jim, are you there?
I'm here. Hello?
Would you like to give us your report, please?
Absolutely. Well, good afternoon, worthy state officers and delegates. Do I have an echo?
It's mostly on your end. If you want to turn down your audio, you should be all right.
Okay, I turned off down my cell phone. Hopefully that will stop it. All right, can you still hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. The resolution committee met online virtually to review the 7 resolutions that were submitted. These resolutions were posted on our state website for the past 30 days. The committee voted to recommend approval of all 7 resolutions. If any of the delegates wish to speak on any of those resolutions, please do so now. Our appointed parliamentarian is past State Deputy Alan Cormany. He will review any objections and make a decision. We will do this over the next few seconds. I will, unless there is an objection, I will not do a verbatim reading of each of the resolutions.
I open the floor to any comments. Any comments? During the last time, any comments on the seven resolutions? We do have one.
We have Delegate Kenneth Tyler. Question or comment?
Can we get a reading of the resolution that funded the deputy for the convention?
Would you repeat that, Alan? I cannot hear him. He had too many echoes.
Yeah, I didn't hear him either. JP, did you hear anything?
It was asking for a single read, I believe. Ken, could you repeat that comment, please?
Yes, I'd like a single read for the resolution that I believe it's $1,000 for the state deputy for the national convention.
Okay, Jim, can you do that for us, please?
Yes, that is resolution number 6, submitted by Monsignor Thomas Hennessy Council 1518 out of Miles City. Whereas it is incumbent upon the state deputy and the Montana delegation to meet certain social obligations and expectations at the Supreme Convention. Now, therefore, be it resolved that $1,000 of allowable expenses be granted to the state deputy to help defray the expense of those obligations for the Knights of Columbus Supreme Convention in the year 2021. Recommendation of the Resolutions Committee is do pass.
The question my council had was, is that money only for the state deputy, or is that money for the delegates also?
As written, it is for the state deputy only.
Okay, and therefore my council is opposed to that.
State Advocate, can I comment on that, please?
Yes.
Brother Ken, the way that's worded is that, like, say, it's $1,000 that we give the state deputy when he uses that when he goes to Supreme Convention. And what it's usually mostly for that he does is, like, say, any costs that he needs to for hospitality for the delegation from the Montana jurisdiction at the Supreme Convention. And one of the nights that is always traditional is that the state deputies take out their state delegates out to dinner on usually Wednesday or Thursday night at the convention, and that's where some of that goes to, is to pay for the dining and things like that. So I hope that kind of explained a little bit more what the money is for.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, with what we were thinking was that delegates have out-of-pocket expenses also, and that should be shared somewhat. I can't hear you.
But as I was also pointed out, any delegate to either it's a state convention or the Supreme Convention, their way is they do get an amount to help offset costs for that. So delegates are also given some money too from Supreme on that.
Okay. We can, as far as I'm concerned, we can put that dead horse in the barn.
Okay, we'll close that door. Yeah. Brother Ken, did you remove your objection to it?
I do.
Okay.
Mr. Parliamentarian, you may proceed to accept resolutions as written with the banging of your gavel.
Then we accept the committee report unanimously. We all did all these, so we're.
Well,
turn it back over to you.
Once again, we've aced through business quickly with a half hour to go. I was warned earlier that our immediate past state deputy would have 2 state deputy reports. I'm hoping there's objection in the. Is there an objection? Is there an objection? No, we'll let the fun continue, I guess.
Thank you again for allowing the past state deputies to do their report. As I would like to remind us is that, of course, all these fines go, yes, into the past state deputies account, but there's so much giving that was taken out of that fund that we support. So it's for a very good cause. And since we'll start with, we'll go down the chairs here. Worthy State Deputy Dan.
Present.
I think there's a process for people becoming saints. So $1 for that. And the only one I know of that actually has that on front of his title, part of his title is ST Howard. Howard, usually we fine Dobbin out of Hamilton for having too tall of a wife. But since hopefully he's watching us here virtually, you're going to get fined $1 for being too tall yourself. Josh Twitchell, State Warden. I know this one's a favorite of past State Deputy Don Hartman's, but I kind of felt it this morning myself, is that, I know Billings is way on the east side of our state and way over on the east side of this time zone, but $1 fine for having morning come so early. And then our General Agent Andy again. I've only flown into your airport in Denver, so I've never really seen the city. And I'm not a Bronco fan, and I'm not an Avalanche fan, or a Nugget fan, or anything like that. But I am a fan of the U.S. Mint there. So, anytime you want to keep, just tell them to keep cranking that out for us. But for not knowing if we're going to come to your state for a convention, $1. Zane is in our audience. Hi, Zane. I know that you've told us a story a couple times about how when you and your family travel, you have your little, my mother called it her prayer pack. And you like say, so you have the candles and the prayer cards and rosaries. And so I know you always have a rosary with you somewhere.
Right here.
There it is. Now, for us embarrassing Zane like that, to make sure he had his rosary. Okay, well, all the rest of us have to pony up $1 for that.
Got my tab going. I've got
Oh, okay. Regional Growth Director Chuck. For missing the first session of our state convention, $1, please. I know you had an excuse, but you know what? M before W and just Montana before everybody else anyway. He was actually monitoring Wisconsin, so that's why the M before the W here. And Stephen, you know, you traveled all that way and got to pick on you on something. Yeah. You had mentioned before that, you know, you was with Kevin Miller a couple days ago and in contact with Mike Noble. So $1 fine from you because those other two guys didn't come.
I don't know if I can afford $1. I don't see that there's a mileage unit in here.
And let's see, there was a couple that were emailed in to me. Josh Twitchell, State Warden. There was whether past State Deputy Art Malasani asked this. He says, you know, whether they're in session here with us or at home virtually, there's no couch for our comfort. $1.
oh
And we'll leave it at that for right now. And of course, we'll have another committee report at dinner. If we have time.
dinner. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Just to let you know, I gave a $5. I've used $2. I still have $3 on my tab. That's a challenge to come up with 3 other things. I won't tell you what else I have on my wallet. Pretty soon we're going to have credit card acceptance. So. But it's a good job. Thank you very much for your report. Before we close this session, I just want to thank everyone for the re-election of this officer panel. These guys have done an exceptional job. Marty has worked really hard organizing things for this convention and spent a lot of time pounding on the keyboard, sending emails and texting me, asking questions, and he does a great job. He continues to do the Knight's Vision newsletter, and that's fantastic. As was mentioned earlier, the Wheaton Agency also submits that in social media platforms. So we're in the Western region now with the Knight's Vision newsletter, so that's great. Howard, of course, quiet as can be, but keeping the numbers straight. He worked really hard a couple of years ago to get them straight after I did a wonderful job. So thank you, everyone, for recognizing the hard work that these men do and re-electing them for another year. and I'm humbled and thankful as well. I think my wife was praying for a coup, but she stands by me. She loves the Knights. She knows what we do, and happy that we're involved. So thank you again. And without any other questions, we will close this session and meet again at 3 p.m. Thank you.